and also who joined online. So as you may know, this is our first meetup in our beautiful Baku office of Andersen, and I'm really glad to be a speaker and to be a part of it. So today I will talk about what really happens behind the apps in our pockets. So as you may guess from the topic's name, it's gonna be like the main goal is to learn how to model API process. And I think this meetup as introduction to APIs, like understanding of API. So, and no worries, I'm not gonna bore you with like long introductions. Okay. Could you please help me? Yeah, sorry for technical issues. Maybe I can. Yeah, I guess I can just go on. So this is me, Aysel. I'm senior business and system analyst at Andersen. I mainly worked in digital banking, fintech, and mainly payment cards and account solutions with over 5 years now. And now I'm in Andersen, and actually now I'm in like, I can say biggest project. I work in biggest project with biggest company as a client. So maybe I'm wrong, but I like to say that. So it's a bit different scope. It's airline scope, but as a solution, we give payment solution. So it's a bit different, a bit change for me, which I'm so happy about it. So as we're going to talk about API modeling process, first, we should understand what are these APIs. Maybe you have worked with like, maybe when you communicate with programmers or like the people with who works in IT, you have heard like APIs like lots of times. But what are these APIs? Usually, to explain API, okay, API stands for Application Programming Interface, but to understand API, usually people use waiter analogy. Okay, what is this waiter analogy? So I want you to just forget about technical jargons and like all the IT related words. So let's imagine that you are a client, you're a customer, and you want to go to a restaurant and you want to get a food. So what would you do? So you go to the restaurant and you first get menu. Maybe waiter helps you to get menu, and then you order your food. And also after you're done with your food, you pay your bill. So here, waiter is like you don't have to worry about how this meal is cooked, what kind of spices it's used, and like what kind of stove, oven, etc. is used. And also you don't have to worry about like managing stocks. Even like in some restaurants, you don't have to worry about pouring drinks. So here you have like waiters help. And so here, actually, waiter is shielding you from this complex stuff, and so you don't just need to worry about anything. Here, you can think waiter as restaurant API. Of course, like I started with this analogy. Usually when like explaining what is API, usually we use this analogy, but it's think it's as like so simple. Of course, there are like complex cases. So once again, API stands for Application Programming Interface. And now think that you are a client, and you, when you want to order your food, you make request, I hope kindly, request to the waiter, and waiter takes your request and sends it to the kitchen. And here, kitchen is the server. Actually, your request is some data, and your kitchen here plays server's role. Actually, resembles like server. And chef prepares your food, and waiter takes your food and brings the food resembles data, client server architecture. So as a customer, we make our request, and API takes our request, sends to the kitchen, sends it to the server, and once it's done, once it's processed, once it's ready, API sends it to back to us. But behind it, okay, I can go back. So behind the scenes, actually, now we know client-server architecture, but behind that, there is also database. So in that case, let's say that, let's say you want coffee, and like coffee flat white with coconut milk, and you made a request, and a waiter sent your request to the kitchen. And to get coconut milk, we need to go refrigerator. I guess coconut milk is stored in refrigerator. So you get milk from refrigerator. In that case, you can sync refrigerator as a database. So they obviously, database is like container which data is stored. So behind the scenes, we can say that behind the server there is also database. And here, by web application, you can use mobile app, you can use web app. Like by mobile app, I mean iOS, Android devices, and web app, maybe your laptops. But like web application is umbrella term, let's say, umbrella term for like your applications. And that's actually my favorite, like, let's say, meme. So if you are familiar with software development lifecycle, there we start with analysis. In some literature, it can be planning, it can be requirements. Then we have design phase, then we have development. And after that, we have testing, deployment, and maintenance. So in the first three steps, we, as analysts, we start with analyzing the requirements. We prioritize by help of maybe a project manager, product owner, etc. And then, like, we analyze requirements, we document requirements, maybe validate them, verify them. Then, when it's it's somehow done, ready, design starts. And by design, I mean UI, UX. And sometimes they can be like in parallel. That's why I don't want to use like phases. Once it's done, the other thing is starts. So imagine that we have API documentation, we have design, and so backend can start like building architecture, building logics, building algorithms, and building API. And now that we have maybe API documentation or API itself and design. So in that case, front end can also start their work. Sometimes it can be parallel, as I mentioned. So let's have the real example. So let's say that you want to search, you want to like study system analysis course, and you search, like you type best system analysis course in the search bar on like some website, like let's say ABC course website. And what you do, API, you type and you send your request, and API takes your request and take it to the server, and behind that database searches your like best SA courses, best system analysis courses, and once the search is done, API takes the result to you. Also, there are like API types. So I'm not going to deep dive in API types. Like there are several API types: open, public, internal, composite, etc. So there are like also open APIs. Let's say if, for example, you're working in banking application and you have a requirement that I want my customers to view stock prices in the bank application. So what you do, you don't create stock prices API from scratch. There are almost already some companies, some like let's say systems that has stock prices APIs. So you just use, you just take them, maybe you subscribe with, you pay some money, or they are completely open. So you take these APIs and you integrate this API into your apps. Also, to give you another example, we have like both on Android and iOS, also like Windows, Mac devices, we have weather app. There, if I'm not mistaken, it's coming from weather channel. So it's also application, and like each devices like iOS or Android don't have to make weather APIs by themselves. So they take this API, they take this data, integrate it, so their customers can see. Now that we know what are APIs, I hope we can start to explain to the journey of API modeling process. What are the steps? What should we start from? So there are some steps, of course. We can follow them, or we can go by our own way. But I suggest let's go with this way. So first of all, it starts with identifying participants' activities first. Usually, if we want to build API, we need to understand business process. If you don't understand what is the business process, what is the functionality of API, we cannot build any API documentation. So first, we need to understand who our participants is. So first of all, let's read that who might be involved. Let's think that who can be our participants. And by participants, I mean not just person, not just individual, also groups, also entities. So let me rephrase that again. So when we talk about participants, we don't talk about just humans, persons. We also talk about, like, it can be system, it can be any entity who is involved. So they can take initiative, like they can take action, or they can just wait for an action to occur. So, okay, how to identify these participants? Of course, we need to like have their names at least and their roles, and we need to understand, are they internal or external? And as I mentioned before, are they active or passive? By active, so these participants take some actions. By passive, these active participants wait for action to begin. So let's just use very simple case. For example, imagine you are a client and you want to just get coffee from coffee shop. Let's be interactive. So I promise I'm not like lying. It's so simple. So who might be the participants in buying coffee from coffee shop? Yeah, customer, perfect. Waitress, yes. Yeah.
Just food, coffee.
Yes, actually, right. Um, yeah, actually, right. But here, can I learn your name? Metanet. Metanet said waitress or waiter. So usually there is barista, and if if the coffee shop is so small and doesn't have lots of customers, he or she also plays as a cashier role. So we can have like cashier, barista, like separate or just one person, and also customer. There's also like some entities like food. Here, actually, let's call them coffee as resources, which we will get back. So you're right, customer, barista, and cashier. Of course, we can have other participants. Like we can have lots of questions. Did customer paid cash, or did they paid with card? If it's card, is it debit or credit? Is there any like payment processor involved? Of course, we can have tons of questions. Also questions like, are there other customers? These customers are also participants? Yes, yeah, I mean, simple answer is yes, but the main question is that, should we include them? Simple answer, boundaries, and simple answer, no. First of all, we need to like, if regardless of our level of experience, regardless of how big the project is, and yeah, we shouldn't like, we need to keep things simple, and of course we need to take into account every possibilities. But if we just start to model our API process, we need to keep things simple. And I like this example. In Agile, there is granularity rule, which simply means that breaking large things to like breaking large tasks into smaller tasks. So actually, I always forget this granularity word. So I remember this word by sugars. So there is regular sugar, and also there is granulated sugar. If maybe some of you may know, to make some cakes, some special cakes like pavlova cake, you shouldn't use regular sugar. You should use granulated sugar. By granulated sugar, I mean regular sugar is also already small, but there are some cakes that needs granulated, like dust sugar in dust form. So in Agile also, we can have smaller tasks, but maybe these tasks can be so complex or can be so uncertain. Yeah, like we can be so uncertain about the activities. So what we do, we keep it simple. The next step is identifying activities. So let's let's go back to you again. So we have participants, we have customer, we have barista, and we have cashier. So what do you think should be the steps?
Coming in the cafe, picking your preferences, asking for it. If it contains like coffee or cake, serve it, pay for it, give it, and then go on.
Completely correct. I sound like ChatGPT responses, but you're completely correct. So here we have customer. Customer places an order with cashier. Cashier passes the order to barista. Barista takes the order and adds it to the queue if there is queue. Cashier tells the customer their total bill, and customer provides payment, which can be accepted or rejected, and barista makes order and delivers it to the customer. Of course, there is like some rules. For example, customer cannot get their order if they haven't made payment yet, and barista cannot start preparing it if they didn't get any order from, let's say, cashier. So we have steps, and we need to like have like order which step starts first and which is the end step. So we just it might sound really 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 simple and a bit dumb, but that's what we need to do in our real projects as well. So now that we have learned, we understood how to identify participants and activities. Let's have a bit real case study. Let's say that we want to order a book online. So in that case study, let's first identify participants. What do you think? For online book ordering, well, let's say Bookstore app, who can be participants, users, and also like people involved.
Warehouse, server, payment system.
Yeah, right. And also person, let's say clerk, who gets these orders and makes the shipment happen, etc. So yeah, so we have customer, we have also like other entities as system admin, developer, we have stock clerk, and we have customer support. Again, to keep things simple, we need to first focus on like active participants. System admin and developer are the ones who make the product, but let's focus on the business process. So here, customer who makes who wants to buy a book online, stock clerk, as I mentioned before, they get order from like let's say compute system, and they check the if the book is available, and they help with shipment. And if there is any problem, customer support answers users clients questions or just try to handle their problems. Okay, process steps. I'm not going to bore you. Let's see what are the process. So it's simple. Customer searches for the book. Like imagine you just open with a mobile app or web app, and what you do, you just search for the book, and if you like the book, you add this book to the cart, and you can add more or you can remove the books from the cart, and you check out, and stock clerk then retrieves and ships the book, and customer support contacts the customer about the book if, for example, shipment is delayed. So our third step, breaking into steps. We can have, like now that we identified participants and we identified activities, what we should do, we should break into steps to create API definitions. So there are steps like view items, add item to cart, add or remove more items, place order, ship order, cancel order. But what I suggest, yeah, they are right, but imagine we have just one sprint and we need to do, we cannot do all of them. Again, keep it simple. So what we can start, and like for minimum viable product, I suggest let's keep view items, add item to cart, and place order. So actually we can ignore for now add or remove more items, ship order, and cancel order. So we can first focus on these three steps. And here you can see that we have item, cart, and order. Here, these ones are our resources actually. When in the future, we will call them API resources, and they are like noun. We will have in the future, we will have verbs like as function, and as resources, we can see them as nouns. I know that it's so simple, and maybe you like, but believe me, we need in real projects, we need to keep always things like simple, so simple. So in order to create API definitions, we have these process steps: view items, add items to cart, and place order. What we need to know. So these are actually our API resources. And now also we can get introduced with CRUD. Maybe some of you all already know. So this is like simple functions: create, read, update, delete. So by view items, what we just get a list of books. Actually, we read them. By edit items, we change something, we make updates. Add items, I'm not going to give you spoilers. So we have add items, list items, and search for items, which in next slides we will see the relations. So first of all, let's get introduced with CRUD and their HTTP versions. So as you said, see, they are verbs. So we had nouns as a resources, and also what should we do these resources? Some functions, and functions are like, should be like verb. So in CRUD, we have create, and its HTTP version, I mean, as a HTTP method, it's post. For example, if we want to simply, we want to post story. So what kind of HTTP method should we use? Post. If we like get the photos that we shared, photos or posts that we shared in Instagram. So what we should use? Get. Yeah, it's simple. So create is post, read is get, update is put, and delete is delete. Like as a we have CRUD, and as a HTTP method, they are as it's shown. So, of course, we have other verbs like patch, head, connect, etc. But these are the most common one, and also this as a API architectural style. This is used in REST API. So it's another topic, and it's another big topic actually. But to like think it as introduction, to think it as a beginning. Now that we have item resource and we learned HTTP methods, so we can put things to their places. So we have item resources, we have cart resources, and we have order resources. For item, what functions we can do? We can list items. By items, I mean books. and we can view some book details. Like imagine there is a bookstore app, and what we do, we just see what kind of books are available to can be sold. And for example, if we tap on some book, and what we do, we view this book details. So do you have any guesses, like as a HTTP methods, what will
for view item and get all for list items.
get items, get item, like get item list, get item details. Now for cart resource, we can create cart, we can add item to cart, we can check out. Any guesses?
Post food, yes. Post food, yes.
Think checkout as placing order.
Okay. Then like post.
So yeah, actually, so creating cart is simple. It's post cart, add item to cart. So we have already cart, and we just add, if we want to add some item, some book. So we will we will update this cart, and for checkout, actually in this process we place an order. So that's why we use post cart as a function. Now, okay, we have gone through item, we have gone through cart, and let's talk about order resource. So here, create order. It's the same as checkout, and view order. Yeah, by saying it's the same with checkout, it's completed before checkout. And to view order, we use get order API. So here, do we need a customer resource?
I believe yes, they are not going to send HTTP requests by hand, like customers can send them by themselves.
Do we need to register customer?
We need to register, we need to make an interface, like interactable interface, make it like fun, because there are 100 of other websites for like buying books. So
right, we need to have registered customers, but not in this user story. Yeah, right, of course we need to have like already the customers that already registered, but we don't need in this story. No, sorry,
proceed as a guest.
to order.
Yeah.
To order. Yeah.
Just an address and name, surname.
Maybe in some apps, yes, maybe. But as a guest, maybe they can just view books, view book details, and when they just want to order, they need to register, maybe. But here, the main thing is that in this story, we don't need to register customer. Like we don't need to have, it's probably done before this API processes. So let's think that customer registration is our first first sprint. We did customer registration, and then we proceed with books, view items, etc. But view customer, yes. For example, a sales clerk can call get customer to see customer details for shipment, I guess. Yeah, in this process, I want to say unknowns are okay, uncertainties are okay, and and the best way is to not make assumptions by ourselves when we can have a chance to discuss it with client or product manager, product owner, project manager. The last one is validating API. So why we need this? Okay, still we actually we learned main elements of API resources, and method. Of course, there are other elements, main elements like parameters, API name, definition. We will go through them. Imagine we created created APIs and API definitions and also API documentation. What should we do? We should validate them. And there is I also want to talk about difference between validating and verification, because it's always misunderstood. So by verification, let's say that we are business analysts and system analysts, when we get the requirements, we do analysis, we do like prioritization, we do benchmarks, we do we do like analyze them, like maybe we use some models like Moscow, Kano analysis, etc., etc. And we have like some documentation, and we need to verify them with stakeholders. What we do, we ask them, is it what you wanted? Like, is that these requirements what really you wanted to have? Maybe in a form of future list, maybe in another form, but in validating requirements, we actually have some solution, and we ask them, okay, we had this requirements, and we thought this solution. So is this solution right? So by validating, actually, we have solution. We have we defined APIs, and we review it, try to validate it with maybe our BASA team lead, backend tech lead, front-end tech lead, or senior backend and front-end developers. So we need to write API documentation as API already exists, and we need to have API endpoints, parameters, response codes, and response payloads. Actually, so we already learned API resources and functions. Okay, what these endpoints, parameters, response codes, and response payloads are. To be honest, I didn't want to deep dive in them, so I can show here in the next slide. And also, we need to create just simple, very imperfect document in a shareable format, of course, for others to see. And so once we draft documentation, we can have, as we have review sessions, we can have updates to make it ready for production. So actually, there are some development portals. We can call them API development portals, or we can call them just API documentation, which is available, which is open. And also, this one is, I took it from my previous experience. So this is CoinMarketCap API documentation portal. So you can search and you can find. So here, usually in API development portals, there are resources. Can you say where we can find our API resources? It's here. I mean, which site?
The right side.
You mean
the response, the statuses, the endpoint. I believe that's all.
Resources are nouns. Yeah, I said it simply, actually, I was afraid that you were gonna be bored, but really, our resources are nouns, so you can find them in the left sidebar. So you can see fiat, CoinMarketCap, tools, blockchain, content, community, key, etc. So they are our items. They are our API resources. And usually in and in the middle, So it's, by the way, it's similar for all, almost all API development portals. So usually you will, if you want to find API resources, you need to look at the left sidebar. If you want to look at API name, API definition, and API endpoint, so you can look at the center. And also, yeah, these are our API resources. Fiat, API endpoints for fiat currencies, etc. It's our API name, API definition, and endpoint itself. Yeah, and in the middle you can find parameters. And by parameters, there are 3 types of parameters, which I'm not gonna deep dive. You can maybe ask query parameters, path parameters, and header parameters. So, and in the right side, we have response codes like sample error samples and success samples. It's similar, very similar for almost each and every API documentation portals. And this one is another project. It's about cashback solutions, which also my previous experience. So you can see in the left sidebar, we have API resources. In the middle, we have API name, endpoint, and also you can see method. And if you don't see the method, it means that it's probably get. Just a life hack, small life hack. We have post, we have method, we have endpoint, we have small definition, and parameters. And in the right side, request, and maybe, yeah, in some documentation we can have like request payload, CURL or curl. I'm not sure about the pronunciation. So we can have a CURL and also response samples. Actually, that's it from my side, and I hope you you had like this meeting was productive for you. So you know, I thought that maybe I underestimated the audience, because some of you already know about API. So maybe we will have future meetups in the future, and we can deep dive in maybe API architecture styles. Yeah, maybe more advanced level. So thank you for listening, for watching. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for this presentation. I really, yeah, it's basic. It's really basic.
Yeah.
It's come down to the foundation, and now when we all know what it's about, the 2 points of my areas of my interest are your experience and some practices in your company or in the field. First one is what is the biggest system you're like created, because finance, banking, payments are like very large.
Yeah.
They're commonly known for being overly complex. So how big is that? And I know that you don't want to disclose what bank is, but if you would like to say red bank or green bank, we all would understand.
Thank you for your question. Actually, that's quite broad question. So you may know from my experience that I've started my career in ABB, and then I've worked in Guava Pay, and also I have experience in Capital Bank. So maybe this question will be not interesting to other our colleagues or our guests. But first, I've worked in almost like I started in the place that almost there were everything developed, like there were everything ready. So actually I started as business analyst in application performance monitoring. So it's actually not development. We didn't. I, as a business analyst, I didn't analyze anything to develop, but I analyzed already like ready systems to like we worked as like for monitoring the system. And then in GuavaPay, I can say that I there is also like already system that existed, and I started like I worked in some projects from end to end. But currently in Andersen, actually, this is the first project that I started from scratch, and there are some requirements, etc. But we started from scratch, and it's quite big system. So I can say this one, but like, do you want to get more details about it?
No, I'm just the thing I want to compare is like the approaches in different companies, because it's like partially my second question, because you mainly talk about web APIs, like the data that we get from the web service or something. But for example, in mobile applications, there are a lot of other things that called APIs too, like camera API, microphone API, like something else. And in my company, for example, we describe the web APIs like all the fields, all the responses. But when it comes to like native APIs, it's like take photo, send it here, and that's it. And I really want to know, is there any other practices, because it might be some missed opportunities, because I believe that when we describe like API, it shouldn't be like attached to some system. It should be universal. So if we want to take a photo from the camera, we can also take a photo from the storage. And when we particularly say that take from the camera, we're missing the opportunity to take it from the storage, because we are already it's created the system about around the camera. So do you like go really deep into like details about how particular system work, what database is used, how data is transferred, or you're like generally describing it, letting the developer to decide how to organize it better?
Yeah, I think I got your question. So first of all, I didn't just talk about web APIs. Yes, I talked about web APIs, but it's like, as I said before, it's like umbrella term for also like mobile applications. Like I talked about web application, but web application is known for both mobile platforms and also web platforms. So, but you are talking about device related. To be honest, I didn't have any experience with device related like experience. But of course, if I answer the second question, yes, we also discuss about like which database it should be stored, which should be like table structure, with which attributes should be stored there, are there any validations, etc.
So it's not only the business process, it's like the complete architectural details about everything, how it would work?
Actually, yes. It depends on the project, and also it depends on the level of the experience, and also if you're working in business as a business analyst, or if you're working in system analyst. As system analyst, you also take part in these areas too. Thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another questions like from online? I cannot check actually. Yeah, please.
Is there any possibility or contingency for APIs to fail, or it's just the systems or servers that crashes?
Could you please repeat?
Is there any possibility of APIs to fail, or it's just the servers that crashes?
Yes. What do you mean by fail?
For example, we try to open, for example, a website,
Mm-hmm.
but we get response from the website, but the interface does not fully
Yeah.
open.
You're talking about actually error responses. So usually there's I'm not sure if API can fail, but usually if there is like problems, it's coming from server. Like actually we have like there is like HTTP responses, response codes. It's another topic. So we have 2xx, 200, 201, etc. So they are success. And we have like 4, and we have like 1xx, 2xx, 3xx, 4xx, and 5xx. So if it's client side, it's coming, it's probably 4xx, and if it's server side error, it's probably 5xx. If you I'm not sure if I catch your question right. Yeah, we can have server errors, and they should be also grouped, like they should be handled right as this HTTP response codes.
So API does its own work properly, right? API does its work properly. There's no any.
Think API as a function. Like we have resources, and we have like by method. If it's for example get, we know that this API's function is to get this data. So API is just a service, like a tool.
For example, I'm quite away from this sector because I'm an offshore engineer, not
Mm-hmm.
any
Yeah.
or something. That's why you like gave an example as waiter. For example, waiter can fail. He can fall while bringing or doing its service. Can API do this? Can API fail like this?
Do you know the answer? I have guesses, but as you're engineer, so
yes for me.
Actually, from my experience, there are some cases. I'm not sure that I've witnessed anything like API is failed. There are some reasons that why this API failed. Maybe some like I forgot the name. Pipelines broken, or something is broken, so that this API is failed. But I'm not sure that somehow like one API, the other, all of the APIs working, and one API is not working. I don't know the answer actually. No, there is like we can talk about architectures, like if it's like microservices, if it's monolithics, etc. So actually, it's broad question, broad topic, and you like caught me like off guard. We can think about it and we can answer. So maybe yes, maybe.
So it's not as simple as a coffee shop. Right? It has more details to it.
Of course. So as I said before, like it's just introduction.
Sorry for this stupid question.
No, it was very funny.
Maybe,
Yeah,
one
thank you.
final question about status codes. This is really interesting. Do you generally follow the conventions, or you add some custom codes to manifest that there are some business logic related things? For example, you have 419 code that generally, like for our web, means some status, but you can add like 446 code,
Yeah.
custom code that means something else in your system. Or do you like add custom status codes in your body response to keep like server status clean, or you like can add some new statuses to the status code of HTTP response?
Yeah, good question. So as a system analyst, when I create API documentation, I try to make it as like how book says. But when we review with backends or front ends, so they can already have, for example, some status code for some validation. So it can be changed, but I try to make it as standards.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
We have one online question.
Mhm.
So the question is about API design and what is the role of the business analyst in the design process of APIs?
A business analyst role.
Yeah.
Actually, API design is the same as like API modeling. Like here you can see it can be like API design. So we can we already know API elements. We have API name, definition, etc., core elements. So we can make some API, we can design API. And what is BA's role? Actually, it's like, again, broad question and a bit, it's a question that if I answer, maybe I will get stoned, because I know some colleagues that are business analysts and they don't work with APIs and they don't want to ask to create API documentation and to any question about API design, API itself. So BA's role is to know business process, to understand how how this business process works and how is the flow. And actually, as a system analyst, we can, when we want to create API documentation, we need to know, first, of course, we need to understand business. So BA's role is to understand business, and if they want to like create API documentation, they can just enrich their technical skills and knowledge, and they can create API design. So, I also read one question about what is the difference between BA and SA. I also want to answer that. So there are like definitions from different literatures. There are different literatures also. So in BA book, business analysis body of knowledge, it's defined as business analyst is a person who does business analysis job. And for system analyst, they say that system analyst who has like technical skills and who knows business, so they can create API design and etc. etc. So there are lots of definitions, but I guess the person who asked this question, they want to know my vision. So I think if system analyst doesn't know any business analysis process, doesn't understand business, they cannot be like they cannot create any design. They cannot be system analyst. So maybe I will get stoned again, but but to become system analyst, we need to at least work for like as a business analyst for at least 1 year, and then have like technical skills and knowledge and become a system analyst. I'm not saying that it's like another level, it's like advanced level, but first in the main, like in the core, we need to have business analysis knowledge, domain business analysis knowledge, skills, approaches.
So the question is, when I delete a photo or a message, is it really gone from the app servers or not?
I wouldn't say that it's deleted right away. So it's at least should be kept like stored for some time, because for backup purposes. So maybe it will be deleted, but after some time, I guess. That's all.
Some more questions
Okay.
from the online watchers. So recently, Apple has made a shift to Rust language, and what do you think it will change in iOS?
Apple shifted.
Yeah. So recently,
Uh-huh.
Apple has made a shift to Rust language. So what do you think it will change in iOS?
Wow. So to be honest, I don't have any experience in Rust, but like I'm not expertise of Rust, but I know that Rust is like more secure, and it makes memory more secure. So I guess after shifting to Rust, iOS devices will have less crash, I hope, and will be more secure. To answer shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you as well.
I have one question for about API docs. How do you prefer store API docs for minimize that changes? For example, we have third party who do some changes with services but not update the docs, and we have some problems. How we can solve that problems? How we can do that? We have not that problems. I think I can explain.
Yeah. Thank you. So we have like some tools. Usually it's Confluence, it's Atlassian's product, or some other like Google Docs, etc. So we can keep our documentations there, and it should be like shareable, like SharePoint. So even our clients can see. And usually I suggest, if, for example, I am the author of this documentation, I would get comments rather than edits. So I can get comments, I can review them, and if they are right, and if we decided to change something, or to like, if we decided that it should be like this, so I can edit it myself. So when lots of people works in one project, one documentation, it's not like.
But what about Swagger?
Swagger?
Swagger. I think it's better for developers. For example, if they deployed something, they can easily see request response models, and BA do not need to do some changes in this documentation. And do BA need update every sprint documentation, for example, or it's only for at the end of or start of the project? What do you think about that?
I agree about Swagger also. So the ones maybe may not know, Swagger is, I guess Swagger is old name. So its name is OpenAPI, I guess. So it's API documentation platform, and it's also documentation can be stored there. But again, we need some place to store documentation. And if we use also Confluence and also Swagger, it's best to keep it updated in both or every place.
But do we need to update that documents, for example, every sprint, or
No.
developer can. I don't understand.
Uh-huh.
The developer can see that on Swagger. Do he need to watch that in documentation, for example? For every sprint.
I think I got his question. Let's rearrange it. If you have like very vast documentation, but you have like few of the requests that repeat in every doc, do you like go through all of them and change them, or you use store API request in some one place and reference this place instead of like going through all of the docs and change and updating manually?
Is it right?
No.
No. Yeah, as I guessed, no.
Okay.
So
Thanks, but no.
yeah, I guess I got the question right. So actually, maybe our document, for like, it's my humble opinion, we need to have some place for storing our documentation. Let's say it's a Confluence. So this Confluence can be used by other like other people, like someone who is not IT related. So he or she doesn't know anything about Swagger, so they don't have to check Swagger. So it should be kept like somewhere mutual place and should be updated, of course. But you said like several times that do we as a BA, do we need to update it every sprint? Why we need to update like why we need to have updates this
For example, every sprint we have updates in our services, but do we need to do that every time, or we can do at the end?
Usually we design API and we review APIs with front ends, back ends, etc., our leads, to like before creating this API, to not waste time, not waste money, not waste resource. So that's why actually the purpose of creating API documentation is that, not waste anything. So after we reviewed and after we discussed and we approved, of course we can have some changes, but these changes shouldn't be that like often. So before creating API itself, we should agree, and we should have like not so lots of changes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And maybe
Yeah.
one more question about versioning.
Yeah.
How do you approach this? Like, I know that there are some iterative changes in documentation, in business
Mhm.
processes. Do you like keep 5 or more different versions of doc after the changes? Or you just mark changes in the original doc, like assign them with version 1.2 or 2.1 or some.
Yeah. The question is more about like mechanical, like technical. So usually there are like advanced tools. For example, at Lycian, there is change history. So you can usually, for example, you mentioned like version 5. If we have version 5, it means that the previous ones, let's say that they are not used. Yeah, they are obsolete. So we don't need to keep them. So also from like advanced tools, we can see from the change history. But if we use them, we should keep them separately.
Oh, so you have like you use page history to use, or
If we don't use them, yes, like not even like previous versions. It's not by versions, I mean app versions. There, if they some previous APIs not used, yeah, we don't. It's just my humble opinion. So maybe there's better way, but like in my view, I don't see the necessity. So you can also see from change history.
Yeah, I suppose the system do not update that rapidly to like wipe all previous
Yeah.
versions.
Yes, and we don't usually. I have never seen like version 5. Usually we have like version 1, version 2, version 3, and when we like we're sure that it's all updated and like even like previous versions is not used. We are sure that they are not used, so we just delete them.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we have another questions or yeah?
We have 3 questions in a row, so maybe you can read them
Yeah,
and then
thank
answer
you.
them.
Yeah, one question: in large-scale systems, what strategies or tools do you recommend for monitoring and analyzing API performance and user data flow efficiently? Yeah, so I'm glad that I know this question because as I mentioned, I started my career as a business analyst, not IT business analyst, but a business analyst in application performance monitoring. So there we had like monitoring tools, most popular ones like Dynatrace, Grafana, Kibana, Zabbix, etc. So I think the tools can be this popular or unpopular monitoring tools. If you were to advise a business analyst learning to design or model APIs, which concepts or tools would you say are non-negotiable? Yeah. So I would suggest really keep it simple, and there are maybe it's like repetitive question because I already showed. So we know that there are more core API elements, resources, methods, etc. So they are non-negotiable. And also if there is like parameters, also maybe like if there is authentication or authorization, I don't think that they should be negotiable. How does Andersen usually approach API modeling and documentation across different projects? What tools or platforms do your analysts use most often for API modeling and validation? Okay, let me answer first question. How does Andersen usually approach API modeling and documentation across different projects? Actually, it's not different from like from standards. So different projects. Yeah. So we like as a business analyst, we get requirements and we have like we identify requirements. We define like feature list in as a vision and scope document. And then we can use BPMN diagram or sequence diagram or for API modeling documentation, it's the same. So we know what models, what are the main elements are. So we just, you know, you usually have a template and you use the same structure. To answer this question, actually, you need to know basic domain knowledge, like basic knowledge, and you just apply it. What tools or platforms do your analysts use more often for API modeling and validation? So for documentation, we can use Confluence or like Google Docs, etc., etc. Or Swagger, OpenAPI, or Postman. What would you recommend as the best learning path for business analysts who want to specialize in API-focused projects? Again, I think that they are repetitive questions, and I don't want to repeat my and bore you. Recommend best learning path for business analysts. Yeah. What I would suggest, it's like you can have different projects, you can have different flows, you can have different clients, you can have different vendors as participants, etc., etc. But the idea is simple. First, learn like business process, like manual process first. Like you can learn it by benchmarking, by researching, and then once you know the whole process, you can use it to model API or design API. I guess that's it. If there's no other question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Ben buradan. Ha, hadi
Çok
devam
sağ olun.
ediyoruz.
Tamam.
Tamam.
Eziyet verdi size.